This is actually a pretty big deal in any business or industry. It's called metrics, and it's how you measure your performance. Are you going to survive till tomorrow? We'll mention a little bit about strategic goals, but this PowerPoint is going to focus on process performance goals, process performance metrics. And you want to these things are called also KPIs, key performance indicators. And what it does, it just lets you know how well you're doing, compared to your goals. Are you going to get to your goals? If you played any sports in school at all or anything, if especially track, you're running track, you put a stopwatch on there. How fast are you doing? You want to do the same thing with your performance, your business performance. And when you measure these things, you want it to be in a thing called a ratio. So you can't just say, hey, oh man, we made $1,000 last month. Well, yeah, but if you spent $20,000 to get that $1,000, it's not so good. So what the ratio is, how much did you make uh, as opposed to how much you spent? You divide those out. Um, and that gives you a relative feel, right? Say the old joke about buying running shoes before a hike in case you see a bear. If you hadn't heard that joke, ask me. I'll be glad to tell it to you. And again, there's another type of metric. That's the strategic metrics. And this is the big picture. Where do you want to be like in 5 years? And how do the process performance metrics support those strategic goals? And these are set by senior management. They're called strategic goals. We're not going to deal with those, but these are the big picture. Uh, but your little picture, these performance metrics, should support the strategic goals. Back a gazillion years ago, when I was a quality auditor or quality examiner for the National Quality Award, um, we would look at these things. Uh, what are your metrics? And it's all about metrics. You got to have data. You got to have metrics. And the four big ones were financial, customer, learning and growth, or internal processes. And you can see on the outside of this some of the different types of metrics you might measure. What gets measured gets improved or gets looked at, right? And these, again, I won't get into the baldrige, but these are important. If you don't do this, you're not going to succeed. World-class companies measure these things. There are basically about 8 types of process performance metrics. Got efficiency, effectiveness, capacity, productivity, quality, profitability, competitive, and value. And we'll talk about these a little bit in detail in the following slides. The first one is capacity indicators, and this is the ratio between the amount that you can produce and the time for this to occur. For example, Steel Mill X is capable of producing 200 tons per month. So this tells you in 200 tons per month. That's a ratio. And if you go back to the previous lesson, we're talking about lean. You get rid of all the waste or the mudas and increase capacity. The more capacity you have, the better off you are. Productivity. Again, this is the ratio between how much you put out on a job and the resources needed to do it. So if we're just talking about labor, right, you got a worker that can install 20 square feet of flooring in an hour. Another can install 17 square feet. Therefore, you can gauge it, right? The first worker is more productive than the second, right? And guess what? If you get out into the workplace, they're going to be measuring this. Then there's the quality indicators. So these are the total output and how much crap you produce. So with example, you make 980 pieces that are good for every 1,000 produced. So you got a 98% compliance or 98% first pass yield, which sounds pretty good, but actually that's way below world class. Way below world class. Quality is a big one. Is probably the first thing that drives customers away. You burn them on quality, you'll never get them back probably. So if you're not making money, you're not going to stay in business, right? So profitability, how much profit are you making compared to total sales? So if a company sold like let's say $200,000 of goods and had a $20,000 profit, its profitability is 10%, which is not bad. But let's say they only made $5,000 profits. Well, then you only got about 2.5%. Then you got some issues because I can make more money uh, investing in a stock market, right? You got to be better than your competitors, and you also got to be better than what you can make in other endeavors. Profitability. This is a big one. Return on investment. In fact, you go to the internet, go to the finance, look up a company. One of the key metrics they'll put out is return on investment. So what does that mean? So I'm going to spend, in this case, $500,000, and I'm going to get $20,000 profit. Your yield is 4%. And again, we use the same indicator as before. Is that enough to make it worthwhile? Could I use that $500,000, put it somewhere else, and make more profit? What's my return on investment? In other words, how much am I getting back for every dollar I'm putting in? How good are you in the marketplace? How are you compared to your competitors, right? Market share is one way to do it, but there are others too. You can compare quality. You can compare perceived quality. There are different things. How are you comparing to your competitor? And there are three things that everybody looks at: your price, of course, quality, and your service. The big three. That's been that way for 70 years since they started taking data. You got to measure that. How competitive are you to the others out there? You'll really see the effectiveness indicator. But what it is a combination of efficacy, which is your ability to achieve desired results, with efficiency. Uh, how efficient are you, or how well are you able to get to that result, right? So it kind of combines them both. You won't see a direct measurement usually on this thing, but it's out there and you can calculate it. If you get out there in the industry and somebody measures the effectiveness and you don't understand it, let me know. I'll be glad to explain it, but I'm not going to spend much time on it. But it's where do you want to be and how well are you able to get there? The value indicator, this is like a ratio between what are the benefits over the cost. And I always use the pickle example, right? When I go to Walmart, I look at all the pickles, right, that are out there. And I see sliced pickles, whole pickles, kosher pickles, garlic pickles, sweet and sour pickles. I got about 3 different brands I can look at. So I start doing this calculation in my mind, right? Man, those sliced pickles sure do look good, but they're 20 cents more than the whole pickles. Man, I don't know what kosher is, but if I want it, I'm gonna have to pay an extra 15 cents. I start doing this. What is the value of those different things, and how much am I willing to pay for it? Right? We all do this. Customers do this too. They'll look at that and say, "Am I getting the bang for my buck that I'm looking for?" And just like we do when we go to the store. This is called the value indicator. So why do we have these things, right? Well, first of all, you got to have information, right? How's the performance doing? How are we doing in each stage, right? So you break this thing up, and you know every step of the process and how well it's doing. And if you're going to do management by fact, you need to be accurate, right? So metrics give us the accuracy so we can manage by fact. And what gets measured gets improved, and efficiency and effectiveness are what you want to improve. You got to measure it. And again, going back to that old days, back when I used to run track, a bad day is when the coach brought off a stopwatch because I knew I was going to have to run faster. And he also knew how my performance was, and I couldn't hide it, right? The time is what it was time, and that's what metrics do, right? They force you to get better, and they are the measure of the company's excellence. When we go in and measure for the quality award, the Baldrige Award, we don't look at what they tell us. We look at what their numbers say, what the metrics say. And again, if you want to keep score, could you imagine watching a basketball game or a football game without a scoreboard? That's what metrics do for a business. It acts as a scoreboard. So everybody knows exactly what the score is, and we can take it from there. So what's in a metric, right? First of all, it's a number, right? An indice. And what that does, it's how you doing? What's the score we got right now? And then you compare that to your goals, right? And this has to trickle down from the strategic goals, right? So this is where we have to be right now if we want to be competitive or we want to make profit or whatever it is our goal is. You got to have metrics so you know if you're getting towards your goals. And also tolerances. If you go to a Toyota plant, you'll see that they have a red, yellow, and green. Green is when they're doing their best they can. Yellow, we're going to be okay. Red, oh man, we got some issues, right? So you need to have that. Well, you know, we have these goals, but they may be pie in the sky. What do we really need to be successful? And that's the tolerance. So why are these things important? Hopefully it's kind of obvious, but just in case, these metrics let us monitor and follow our products of a business or organization. Collect the information that we need. We make it so people can use the information, especially the managers and the people in the trenches, so that we can make the right decisions. Again, if I didn't say it before, what majors gets improved, so efficiency and efficacy to the process comes about as a result of the metrics. Process performance metrics also help the business process management. Again, it's all about management by fact, and the foundation for those facts are metrics, right? And if finally, if they find something that's not working like it should be, it knows where the company knows where to put its efforts so it can improve, and it supports continuous improvement, and also those strategic goals. You can support those. So you need these things, right? Without these things, a company just can't function. Even in the old days, back before they put numbers to it, good companies just had a sense of how they were doing in these critical areas. But nowadays, you just need the hard number. You need the actual indice. And this will be the last slide. Basically, so what do you do with all this information? This is called a A3. A3 is the size of paper in the metric countries. And basically, you put the information you need. I don't know if you ever have been in an organization where they tell you to get better, but they don't tell you how to get better or what the metric is or anything like that. I always liked saying, well, on my evaluation, annual evaluation, improve quality. No. Tell me improve what quality, what metric, and by how much. If I'm going to get a full raise, what do I have to do? And that's what metrics do for us, both for the individual, the organization, and actually ultimately by society as a whole. Again, this is an example of how you report the metrics, basically getting the information out to the people that need it.